Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hello, everyone. We'll give people a moment to jump on for day 5. Okay. Hello. Let's see. I guess I had the scheduled time a little off. So if people thought I was going live this evening, I'm going live this morning. Today is day 5 of the challenge to start and set up your business. Everything from the technical sides of choosing an LLC, the money, the accounting, getting set up, all the way to the practical sides of actually moving forward, getting customers and getting going, right? And so that's what we're really covering today. And day 5 is sales. And just like with legal stuff and accounting and taxes, I do it really simple. Just like everything else I do. So we're going to really simplify sales today. And I'll give you the link for anyone who is new. And if you're doing the challenge, be sure to log in to the platform because I add a lot of additional stuff in addition to the videos. There's yesterday's training. I added an entire section from my Master Your Accounting and Taxes course about getting your documentation systems set up when you're starting a business so that you have every piece of paper, and you can do it virtually as well, but so that you have everything organized instead of trying to figure that out yourself and using trial and error and being like, why is this difficult? I give you the secrets of the industry, stuff you can only know when you've been in industry and you've been working with people and you just know what works best because you've seen it so many times over and over, and then it becomes clear. So let's see here. Let me know if you're a returning. I'm sorry if the time was off for this one. But I know we had said 10 a.m. HST in the email, so we're getting started. Let me know your name, who you are, where you are, if you have been to the prior days or if you're new to the live challenge here. The challenge is to start your business in 7 days, 7 days of training. The link is in the description below. And this was a course that I'm still going to do this as a 7-week live course, but I decided to do the trainings absolutely for free because starting a business is something so many people are interested in right now. And I genuinely love making free content. That's why I have a YouTube channel, right? I genuinely love that that's part of my online business model, and marketing is not just to get people. My marketing has a mission. My marketing serves a purpose, right? It's genuinely helping people. So I decided to make the trainings totally free. And then people who want to work with me and get my help on top of the free trainings can do so in the paid program, which includes all of my courses as well. So I have accounting and business and legal courses. So that's the challenge. We'll be talking about that type of strategy, like online stuff, in day 6, which is tomorrow. You can see that in the link. The link to sign up shows you what we've covered every day. Day 1 is creating a business plan. And also, if you've been following along, last night I added an audio training to day 1 about how to really choose what you do every day to make sure that it's something that's moving you forward in the right direction. Day 2, we talked about choosing LLC versus corporation versus nonprofit. I know that's a really big common question. We covered that in depth and how it's really an area that you don't need to be confused about at all. I gave you a cheat sheet from one of my paid courses, a super valuable cheat sheet that you can save. It's in the membership site, a really epic cheat sheet that I made, I must say. It just simplifies business options. Day 3, we covered the exact steps to then form that legal entity. So most people choose an LLC, but they apply to corporation or nonprofit as well. The exact steps to form your business, to understand about registering with states and all of those details, day 3. Day 4, yesterday we went through getting your financial stuff set up. Everything to do with your finances, step by step, including getting your accounting set up. And I give away a free accounting spreadsheet as well. So that was integrated into day 4. Today in day 5, we're doing the sales secrets. So we're going to talk about how to really make your life easier with sales. Day 6 tomorrow is all about online marketing. And then day 7 is implementation. So let's jump in to sales. Sales is something that is made really complicated, right? Online. It's made really complicated because it's the part of putting ourselves out there, right? It's the part of saying, like, I have this thing to offer and I'm putting it out there. And so I really think that's where the overwhelmment, and that's where a lot of the reason why people don't move forward or get stuck, it's because they're getting into all this fancy stuff and listening to all sorts of people telling them what they can do, when the reality is you don't need to do much except be confident in what it is that you're offering. And so the steps we're going to walk through right now, I'm going to share my screen and show you inside the free course, and we're going to go over the sales steps. And they're going to be a lot easier than you probably would imagine, right? It's going to be simple, and I'm going to throw away a lot of things that you may have heard that you need to do when it comes to sales. I'm going to tell you to totally screw those things, and even tell you an opposite approach that I recommend. And I promise you, if you follow these steps, you'll get results. And I think that you'll even see that really clearly as we go through them, because it doesn't need to be complicated. And we'll apply an example that you can probably really relate to. And if you think about like someone else as we go through these steps instead of yourself, that can be helpful to see how a simple strategy works really well. Now, of course, if your business is a big online, if you're trying to do something really big, like I talked about in day 1, if you're trying to do a big corporate strategy, if you're trying to do something really big, then tomorrow's strategy, when we talk about tomorrow in the online world and building strategy, that might really be where your sales getting started point is. But for most people who just want to sell services, or you want to sell products online, like wherever you're getting started, particularly sales, a lot of people, services, a lot of people in my audience are selling services, right? Small business owners. Hi, Ricky, welcome. Early Sunday morning, bright and early for me. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump into these steps for getting started. And Ricky, I'm using today the example of a bookkeeper. So I know you're a bookkeeper. So that's what your business is. Okay, so over here in day 5 in the course, like I said, this is going to be really simple. We're going to totally simplify sales. And the first part is actually all about defining your offer, what it is that you're selling, really concisely. I have 3 questions, 3 things for you to do. That's it. People talk about defining the ideal client and describing them. You don't need to do any of that, to be totally honest. Those are things that a corporation might do. Like I said, if you're a big business, sure, you can get into all sorts of stuff, but none of it's necessary. And if you're a small business owner, if you're a solo business owner, if you're just starting something, if you stick to these simple steps, I promise that you will succeed. And if you find yourself stopped, like you can't do these 5-minute simple steps, then that's really where you want to focus, right? Is like, why? Why do I not want to do this super simple step? Because a lot of times, like I started saying before, a lot of times it's actually that people aren't confident to put themselves out there. Or if you go back to day 1, and like I said, I added another audio training at day 1. So be sure to listen to the additional audio about choosing what to do each day and how to implement your plan. You might not be focusing on that thing that you really want to focus on. And if you find yourself stalling on sales, then I definitely recommend going back to the starting point. And keeping in mind that that starting point of day 1 is something you might have to do every day to make sure that you're pulling yourself in that direction. Because when you first get whatever that thing is, you're not going to know exactly how to bridge the gap between the mechanics of what you're doing in your business and this bigger, more purposeful inspiration, which is often more vague. So you got to keep bringing it up every day to connect the two, okay? Okay, so let's jump in. And you can certainly do this as we go along, okay? So we're going to define and discuss what it is you sell very succinctly. You could do this in this, you can do everything for sales here to start your business in these steps with me over the next few minutes. I just want to make sure my screen is sharing correctly. I think it is. So the first question is, what are you selling? What is the offer? And you want to say this simply in one sentence. A lot of times when people start a business, they can't answer this question, right? They're like, I'm doing this and this and this, blah, 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 and I can do all these things. You want to, just for an exercise, what is the one? If you have to pick one, just pick it. And just in one simple sentence, state what it is your business sells. Keep it stupid simple. Unless you like to struggle, unless you want it to be difficult to move forward, then, do whatever you're inspired to do. Certainly, whatever you really want to do, what you're inspired to do, that should always trump anyone's instructions. I'll be the first to say that. But sales is a place where people are often blocked. And what I'm going to give you is way simpler than what other people are going to tell you, because other people are selling something to help you with sales. I'm not selling anything to help you with sales, which is why I'm going to be super honest, okay? So an example, let's say a new bookkeeper is just getting started. What is the offer? I'm selling monthly bookkeeping services. Boom, done. You will develop these as you move forward. You will answer these questions continually. You'll refine them and develop them as you move forward, but you just have to pick something to move forward. Question number 2, what is the problem you solve? It's just straightforward. Just answer it in one sentence. What is the problem you solve? Now, you might not really totally know, but you've got to define it, at least something to get started. That's what you're going to put out there. So in my example with the monthly bookkeeping services, solves the problem for sole proprietors and single member LLCs for self-employed businesses that are dreading their accounting and taxes. That's the problem that it solves. Monthly bookkeeping services solve that problem. Now, if you have a current situation, feel free to type it in and I will totally help you refine it for these questions. Now, the next thing I addressed here was about the ideal client. People will tell you that you need to define an ideal client. Like I said, that's something for big corporations and companies. You don't need to worry about that at all. And what I recommend instead is completely flipping that around. Instead of worrying about the nitty-gritty of your client, focus on an ideal client checklist. Who do you want to work with? So following our example of monthly bookkeeping services, I did out an example here. My clients are successful tradespeople in my local community. My clients make at least $3,500 per month. My clients agree to follow the steps of the accounting system I set up for them. My clients respect me, okay? So it's really getting clear on who do you want to work with? What excites you to work with, and define that. And again, so all three of these things, this is all you need to get started, but you need to be super simple and super clear about them. What is the offer? What problem does it solve? And what's the ideal client checklist? Don't spend a ton of time on this. Write it down and then continue to refine it. So for example, you may get way more specific about the problem you solve. You might, as is common for bookkeeping, end up specializing in an industry. I highly recommend that. But if you're just getting started and you aren't sure what industry, just define this and watch what happens. So now we say, okay, sales, we got to get clients, right? You're just getting started. So many options, right? There's so much stuff you can do. You got to do advertising, you got to do online, you got to do all this stuff, right? No way. No way. No, you don't. Send an email to everyone in all of your email contacts and tell them, using the language we just defined, right? Offer, problem, and your requirements. Send a letter. And I included an example here in the training. I'm starting a bookkeeping business. I'm reaching out to see if you or someone you know might be in need of my services. I help self-employed single-member LLC business owners and tradespeople who are dreading their accounting and taxes with monthly bookkeeping services. If you or anyone you know are interested, call me at. Thank you so much for your support. That's it. No long email, no details, no focusing on what you are actually including, like a monthly meeting and Xero. I use Xero accounting, like none of that, because no one cares. No one cares. See, that's really sales right there, is focusing on that one super simple statement about how you actually are helping someone. And then putting it out there to everyone you know. You could also put a post on Facebook or whatever social media platforms you use. Always use a photo as well. Make sure like people could share that, right? People you know might share it. And I included an example post, which is just a little tweak of the email, right? I'm self-employed, single member LLC business owner. I combined two sentences, but it's the same exact thing. I'm starting a bookkeeping business. Do you or someone you know need my services? ? And then I put the same exact sentences. Okay, now those two things, you put those out there. If you really want clients, you are going to get someone that contacts you. Promise. And once you work with that person, you can continue to refine your questions, okay? Now, are there other things you can do that I'm going to talk about here? Yes. However, those first two steps are really all you need to do. And by those two steps, I also mean, just being a friendly human, right? Like in your life and talking to people, spreading the word, just being your natural self and using this language. And if this language about what you're offering in your business doesn't come naturally to you, then you may need to really practice it. And then you just want to use that language when you're talking to people, and get comfortable with that language. Now, there are other things that we can talk about doing, but as long as that you're in that mode of telling people, I have a monthly bookkeeping business. I've started a monthly bookkeeping business. I help small business owners who are dreading their accounting and taxes with monthly bookkeeping services. That's it. You got to get it really simple, and then you want to be putting it out there. Now, if you want to be an online business, we'll be talking more about the online tomorrow, but I know a lot of people that find me on YouTube are providing local community services. So for that, you don't need the internet. Can you use the internet? Are there all sorts of things you can do with the internet? Yes, and we'll be talking about those tomorrow, again, in a very simple way. But you really don't need to do all this work to get clients. If you're desperate for income in your business, be sure to watch the audio I added to the day 1 training. But figure out your money, get it sorted, and then focus on getting that income that you need some other way, so that you don't have to rush this process. Because here's what's going to happen with the sales. You take those 2 steps, you start putting it out there, you be a friendly human, you help someone. If you do a good job with that person, okay, if you make sure that it goes well with that person, they are going to refer you. And as any local business owner knows, referrals is the best way to build a business. Because when someone tells someone else, no, you have to contact this person, they are great, that person is now going to be a better client for you, because someone they know, you're that person's friend. When you're at that level, this person helped me, you're at friend level with one of their friends. And so there's that connection there. So the business will balloon later on if you take it slow when you're getting started. You don't want 10 clients all at once. You want to get started slowly. Wait, because this is your first time. You don't need to do a ton of planning for how you're going to offer bookkeeping services. You can do that as you go when you get your first 1, 2, or 3 clients from those initial inquiries that you put out there in the world. You will get a few inquiries, and from there, you can focus on building your service. And if it's a product, it can be the same product process, especially if you're trying to pre-sell it. It would be the same exact process, right? Like you're getting people who are interested to try it or talk to you or pre-sell it. Okay, or to use a prototype. There's all certain ways you can go with products, but pre-selling is really key, because if people aren't willing to put their money down, then you kind of have a problem. So lastly, if there's any questions, do post them. Ricky, this is great. I have mailed out business letters before about the business I'm doing. However, I think your idea is so good. Great. Yeah. Like that's what I was going to go into next. Is there's all sorts of things you can do, right? Like as far as advertising, like that's a very advertising thing to send out postcards. But I think that it's like trying to jump the gun a little bit. It's better to just be where you're at. Like if you're just getting started, be at that stage. Like, have that, like I'm just sending an email to everyone I know. People are going to share you with other people. right? They're going to like want to support you. Even if you feel like, oh, I don't have anyone in my email like, like that can be a self-esteem thing that you really have to shift if you want to put yourself out there as a business owner, right? Like you've got to have confidence that people are going to support me, that know me, that I've been in contact with over the years. And we often have quite a few contacts in our Gmail that you may not even realize and have forgotten about. And if you put something out there telling them, hey, I'm starting this business, you're going to get people who are trying to support you. And you're going to get someone who knows, okay, you just started. Okay, I want in on what you're starting. And they know you're starting. And that way you're on the same page. Versus when you send out mailers, it's a little bit of a old technique. It can still work. People still do it. But that type of advertising is quite expensive. I don't recommend doing anything that costs money, extensive time like that until you've really refined those questions way more specifically than what we just said. Like, there's no need to advertise that way anymore, really, because you're sending something to all sorts of people, probably not really knowing who's even, are they even part of the ideal client. So the internet does change a lot of that. And the internet is typically what I recommend using when you get to that stage where, let's say, you've defined the problem you're solving way more specifically for a certain type of business. The benefit to that is then it's really easy to get in front of those types of business owners, right? They have associations, they have trade shows, they have trainings. And so it's really easy to spread yourself around in an industry because of the online world. So we'll be talking about that more tomorrow. Let's see, I'll go back here to my list of kind of other things you can do. I would limit yourself. I would really focus on the fact that the steps I've laid out work 100%. Simple works, hands down. You don't need to do all of the things people are selling you on. You don't need to do any of them until you have a super well-refined, oiled system that works like clockwork. Otherwise you're going to get overwhelmed. Even if you did get a huge number of influx, they're going to expect you to be further along. Like, it can be a big disconnect. The other things that people often talk about are like referral groups, advertising in paper or online, running free workshops, posts on boards, putting your stuff up on boards, online profiles, LinkedIn, Yelp, all of that stuff. You can do that. Like, if you really feel like that's what you're supposed to do, I would never tell someone not to do that. But I would generally say, have that be like a secondary thing. Don't put your eggs in that. Put your eggs in the more close connections, that first layer, and like being honest about what you're doing, putting it out there, and then continuing to put it out there in conversations, and really expecting that that's going to bring you your 1 to 3 clients. And that's how you're going to refine your service, and that's how you're going to get going. Okay. So the focus is getting started. So that's what we're talking about. But if you're further along and you're not happy about the way things are going, you can always start answering these questions again, even for one subset of your clientele. So let's say you have a big clientele, you could apply this to one subset and allow yourself to kind of like refine deeper in with that one area of client. And that's another way to develop the business further in that area. Okay, well, that's all for sales secrets. What entity is best for running multiple businesses? So that's all covered in day 2. So I highly recommend watching day 2. I break down all of that. It takes about an hour to explain it, which is what I did in that day. So you can sign up there and log in and access all the trainings there, or they're on YouTube as well. They're on YouTube, Facebook, so you can just access day 2, which is all about choosing the best type of business, legal, and all of that type of thing. Answering that question for sure. Okay, well, guys, that's all for today. Sales is a different topic. I don't usually go into it, but since we're talking about starting a business, and since sales is so important, and since it's something I have helped many people with, and I really see people get so overwhelmed by everything out there, you really want to keep it simple and really focus on your own confidence in your offer. Aloha. Hi, Tammy. Yes, we're in the same state. That's for sure. Okay, guys. Well, if you missed today, I think this can be really helpful if you're getting started. So definitely check out the replay. And otherwise, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, day 6 in the Start Your Business Challenge, where we're talking about the online world and getting started with the online world while you're starting your business. And tomorrow's training is really epic. I'm really excited to do it because I see so many people get sucked into different trainings that are like really in the details of an online business, when people don't even have the bigger picture perspective of all the options online, everything that's going on, all the fads, all the stuff, and then understand how do you use that as a maybe local business, or a Main Street business, or a service provider that could be online, right? But you don't necessarily have any audience anywhere yet. Like, how do you approach the online world? And so this is a big, big picture training that I think will be really epic. And so that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. HST, which is 4 p.m. EST, 1 p.m. PST. So the recording will be uploaded to the Forum Your Business membership site with a bunch of other resources. Bo, I believe it is, do check out that day 2 training in the membership site, because there's an epic cheat sheet, okay, where I break down business types where you really never have to be confused about it again. Like, swear to God, cross my fingers, the reason you can't get that other places is because honestly, most people don't have the legal, accounting, and tax expertise focused on small businesses, focused on answering that question for you, because it's so prolific and so frustrating for small business owners. I've run so many courses. You can see them on my website. So I've really refined my answer to that question. So yes, and save that cheat sheet, because that cheat sheet is, you think there's so much stuff, so many options out there, the way people talk about it, right? Like there's so many options is the latest thing you got to do. And, here's the truth. We don't get the loopholes of the rich because we don't spend billions of dollars. We don't get it. That's pretty much the truth. Now, there are some things to be aware of. Certainly one is that the S Corp doesn't save an LLC money. It costs you money, even though tax professionals are forming them for people left and right. I figured this out from people coming to me saying, I don't feel like the S Corp is saving me money. And so then I made templates that compared the two situations. Then I made my Forming the Best Type of Business to Form course, which goes over all this and has a spreadsheet template that compares. You can see videos about that on YouTube as well. And that's when I realized, oh, of course, like the S Corp was for corporations to be taxed like a flow through, which is self-employed, and LLCs, multi-owner partnerships. That's how the LLC is taxed. Hello, SD. Okay, well, that's all, guys. Do check out the replay if you missed it. Today is really great for simplifying sales and taking off your business. Log into the training. I've added more resources to yesterday's as well for getting your finances set up when you start your business. I added in a training from my Master Your Accounting and Taxes, my more advanced course for people who are kind of already going and have a bunch of stuff going on, or who just want to get all the details absolutely correct. That's a paid course. super affordable, but I took out a training from there about getting set up and organized and how to really keep your paperwork and receipts organized and what you need to keep. So all of that is there. Yeah, so holding companies, Bo's asking about holding companies. Yeah, so it's just the liability that's talked about. Like, don't think that it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's just that limited liability that applies to a single member LLC that I explain in that day 2 training. So that's all it is. So when you set up, holding company is more like saying, I'm a bookkeeping company. That's the purpose. It has nothing to do with the structure. Structure, it doesn't change. There's LLC, corporation, nonprofit, S Corp for taxes. So that doesn't change anything. Does that make sense? Holding company is just, what is it doing? Well, it's giving an asset limited liability. That's it. Or you're separating out one type of service from another type of service, which, yes, when people have a lot of money. So like when I started in public accounting, I did complex pyramid structures. The Celtics, actually, the owner is Celtics. So yeah, they are getting into some stuff. I mean, you got to keep in mind that a lot of this is because no one knows anything about accounting and taxes. And then we have the profession that gets really detailed. And like I said, when you have a lot of money involved, when you're losing money and spending millions of dollars and gaining them, then, then we can get a little creative with offsetting and planning and that type of thing. And certainly there is some planning to be said for, like you can only deduct passive losses up to $3,000 a year. And so that's the biggest thing to plan for, is so that your passive losses offset active losses. Anyways, I'll do a separate training on that. I get that people want to know how to plan. You tell me what the words are, Bo. How to plan. You want to know the strategy, because there's not much, right? Like what's covered in day 2 is how you choose the best entity. So definitely watch that out. Hopefully I've clarified holding company for you. Holding company is just the purpose, which is like just like being a bookkeeping company. That's the purpose of what we're providing. And so holding company is, okay, well, typically having to do with a real estate asset. Like we just have one asset in this company. So yeah, the limited liability. Does it matter? Often no. So, but if there's some reason why you think that it needs limited liability, okay, great. Maybe you like to have the accounting separate. Okay. But yeah, doesn't typically have much to do with the value or making money. That's my point. Okay, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful. I've gotten distracted. You can always distract me at the end with questions. And I will do tax planning. That's what people kind of want. So we'll do a tax planning technical live stream. I'll schedule that for some time next week. And then you can subscribe when it's scheduled. So we'll see if people like that. Okay, guys, bye.